Welcome to the Sugar Show. Sugar Sean O'Malley completely annihilated his opponent Eddie Wineland on the main card of UFC 250 Nunes versus Spencer to kick off the main card, and boy did he kick off the main card in a major way. The Sugar Show is real. I am on board on the hype train. He completely dismantled Eddie Wineland, and not only did he dismantle Eddie Wineland, but he did what he was supposed to do, and let that be remembered here, because not only did Sean O'Malley win, winning wasn't enough in this matchup, and I think all of the MMA fans understood that going into this. If Sean O'Malley just came out of this fight with a win, let alone losing, if Sean O'Malley came out of this fight with an unimpressive victory by decision, even if it went into the second round, people would question him, because as much as I respect Eddie Wineland as a veteran of the UFC, and I know the UFC tried to sell it like this was some really dangerous opponent for Sean O'Malley, like they did with Nunes versus Spencer. They've got to sell the pay-per-view somehow. They've got to entice people to buy it, otherwise people are just going to tune in afterwards for the KO. Even still, Sean O'Malley made Eddie Wineland look the way he was supposed to make Eddie Wineland look. He was supposed to make Eddie Wineland look like he didn't belong in there with Sean O'Malley. And Sean O'Malley did exactly that, completely annihilated him, was way faster than him from the get-go. His feints were better, his movement around the outside of the cage. I thought that maybe the smaller octagon was going to maybe limit the movement of Sean O'Malley a little bit, but he didn't look bothered by it whatsoever. Eddie Wineland did actually land a shot in the fight, which is very good, and he landed a bigger shot than Jose Alberto Quinones did, so at least there's a step up in competition somehow, because Wineland did crack O'Malley with a good shot in that fight in the first round, but then O'Malley settled in. He started getting a little bit more comfortable. Eddie Wineland started biting on the feints, and as I said in my prediction video, first round KO for O'Malley, he really did deliver. That KO was brutal. That walk-off KO, and I said this, I was shocked because it happened at bantamweight, the walk-off KO. I thought to myself, as soon as that KO happened, when do we see walk-off KOs at bantamweight? We always see them with Mark Hunt, walk-off KOs. When do we see this kind of thing happening at bantamweight? And then all of a sudden, the co-main event comes around and Garbrandt does the same thing, kind of stealing the spotlight from Sean O'Malley. So fuck you, Cody Garbrandt, in that sense. I'm Team O'Malley here. O'Malley got the job done. Brutal walk-off KO after the spinning back kick to the body. I mean, we knew what this fight was. It was a highlight reel opportunity. O'Malley got his highlight reel KO. I know he was looking for the head kick because I saw it the whole fight. He was 100% looking to go to the body with kicks, go to the body with front kicks, eventually come upstairs with a head kick. He missed it a couple times because he was throwing them without any setup, which I saw. I know he wanted the head kick. Even still, went out there with something, in my opinion, even better, because let's say you catch him with a head kick and then you have to finish him off on the ground. That's not very cool. Walk-off KOs are one in a very low chance of happening. Like 1 in a million, I would say. Especially at bantamweight, because we rarely see it. I know 2 just happened on the same night, but Jesus. Sean O'Malley annihilated Eddie Wineland. And what happens next? Because Sean O'Malley showed us a lot of things. He showed us he's comfortable, he's patient, he can fight a guy who's really going to put the pressure on him. He kind of showed us that before, but he kind of reaffirmed that notion that he is ready for the big leagues against Eddie Wineland. And listen, Eddie Wineland is a guy who's coming off a win. As much as people shit on this fight, he's coming off a win. He's number 25 on Ranking MMA, which ranks everyone outside the rankings. He's number 25. O'Malley was number 20. I feel as though O'Malley's going to earn a slot at number 15. I really do. Marlon Vera is there at the moment, and O'Malley's completely undefeated at bantamweight 4-0. I know he may not have the resume that Marlon Vera has, but still, with Marlon Vera coming off a robbery, but a loss to Song Yadong, a loss, they could make the argument to shift Sean O'Malley up into number 15 so that they could sell his next fight with him as a ranked fighter. I think they're going to do that. Whether I agree with that or not is completely out of the question. Sean O'Malley has put 4 together in a row. I know there are other guys like Ricky Simone and Raoni Barcelos that are going to be annoyed at Sean O'Malley overlapping them. However, he just beat a guy in the top 25. He was ranked number 20. He's probably going to leapfrog a lot of those guys in front of him and jump into the number 15 ranking spot. And I feel like that would benefit Sean O'Malley moving forward to have that ranking next to his name, because it would justify making Sean O'Malley the main event of a fight night. And I stand by that, because a lot of people don't seem to understand this. They see Sean O'Malley's ranking and they think to themselves, this guy don't deserve the position on the card. He doesn't deserve to be on the main card here or on this pay-per-view. If this was a normal pay-per-view, he wouldn't be on the main card. He's catching up to Darren Till in Instagram followers. Okay? Like, Darren Till is a huge name that co-main events at MSG. Sean O'Malley's catching up to him in Instagram followers. He has a lot more than a lot of he has more Instagram followers than maybe Alexander Volkanovski. I haven't checked, but even still, Sean O'Malley's got a massive following that's really going to propel his career. I feel as though they're going to do what they did with Conor McGregor. They're going to take a chance and put him as the main event of a fight night versus Rob Font. Sean O'Malley versus Rob Font in the main event of a fight night on Fight Island. I know that this would not normally be the main event of a fight night, but right now, Cynthia Calvillo versus Jessica Ai is the main event of a fight night, so I think we can make an exception for Sean O'Malley versus Rob Font. I want to keep O'Malley active. I know Rob Font is looking for a fight during this time period. He was training Calvin Kattar, which means that entire gym of the New England Mafia and the New England Cartel is full systems ahead. I want to see Rob Font versus Sean O'Malley. It's a great matchup. Rob Font is a striker. He loves to strike. He barely wrestles. That's straight into O'Malley's wheelhouse. And Rob Font is a legit striker that's fought with the best of them, coming off a big win against Ricky Simone, who's a dangerous guy in the division. Sean O'Malley versus Rob Font makes all the sense. That's the jump up I want to see him take up next. I don't mind his chances. I'm telling you, I'm on the O'Malley hype train right now. You make Eddie Wineland look like that. There are a lot of guys who can beat Eddie Wineland. There are a lot of them. But to get it like that, with that kind of KO, after a spinning back kick to the body, and just no regard for Wineland as an opponent in that fight at any point. He got caught with a punch at one point, that was fine, he rolled with it, he moved away, he circled out, he got his bearings again, landed the front kick, getting straight back to what got him to the dance. It was just, I'm kind of on it. I think O'Malley's going to go far, and I think he's going to improve rapidly between each fight because he's a young guy who's only really just got into the sport of MMA. That 2 years off, and I said it in a prediction video, that 2 years off that O'Malley had since his Andre Sukumtar fight until the Jose Alberto Quinones fight was career-saving, in my opinion, because the O'Malley that fought Andre Sukumtar is not a minus 600 favourite over Eddie Wineland. I'll tell you that much for sure. If O'Malley went straight from Sukumtar to Wineland, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he was a minor favourite. But he has improved so dramatically since then. He's a much bigger guy. I'm so surprised by how big he is and how he even makes 135. I guess he's just one of those naturally lighter people who don't have dense bones. But even still, he annihilated him. I think he should fight Rob Font next in the main event of a fight night. I feel like that would propel his career massively, and it would also do a service to some of these young, lower-ranked bantamweights because it would generate some interest around the lower half of the division. We've got the interest at the top. We've got the Yans, we've got the Sterlings, we've got the Garbrandts back. We've got the top of the division covered. Let's have a little bit of a skirmish outside of the top 10. Rob Font versus Sean O'Malley makes complete sense to me. I think it's time for him to take a jump up the rankings. Most definitely. It was a great walk-off KO. Only to be outshined by Cody Garbrandt, so fuck you, Cody Garbrandt, let's be honest. Stealing all the spotlight from Sean O'Malley, taking the sugar show away from him, but even still, sensational. I think he beats Rob Font. And I don't give a fuck about saying that whatsoever. I think he would beat Rob Font. He moves differently. He's very powerful. No one in that bantamweight division, other than maybe Garbrandt, I guess you could say, has that kind of one-punch KO power. Like, a lot of those finishes are TKOs. And it seems as though if O'Malley gets his timing and is able to land that big shot, it's not like Eddie Wineland's chin was spent. Like, it's not like Eddie Wineland was this old veteran who's chinny and can't take a shot anymore and he was being fed like the fucking lamb from Jurassic World to Sean O'Malley, the Velociraptor. Even still, Eddie Wineland's got a good chin. He's coming off a win against Grigory Popov where he looked phenomenal. He came out there, looked comfortable, didn't look nervous or anything, got straight to work, feinting and moving forward against O'Malley. And O'Malley just schooled him, destroyed him. I want to see O'Malley versus Font next, and if Wineland still wants to fight after that KO, I guess Wineland versus Marlon Vera, but even then Marlon Vera is going to want to get back in the cage sooner than 6 months away, I would assume. So maybe we could do something like Eddie Wineland versus the Bellator negotiation room. I don't really give a fuck about Eddie Wineland at this point. I know I feel bad for him for getting KO'd, but Jesus, Sean O'Malley stole the show tonight. I think he was a great addition to the main card. He completely set off the main card in an amazing way. Rocco Martin versus Neil Magny then took all of that hype away and momentum from the main card and sunk it back down again, but at least the opener of the main card was huge. Sean O'Malley put whatever his fucking name was, Wineland, in the Matrix. Destroyed him. O'Malley versus Rob Font. Main event of a fight night. If he wins that one, let's do him versus, I don't know, when Sandhagen wants to fight again. It depends how active Sean O'Malley is. I feel like we should keep him active, put him on a fight night for a Fight Island headliner, and just send his career on a rocket ship to the top, because I think he's ready. You know, it's not like he's coming up and we don't know if we want to rush him yet because he's only beating these certain guys. He's not just beating these guys. He's making them look like they don't belong in there with him. Put him against someone who does. New England Cartel. Rob Font. Savage. Rob Font versus Sean O'Malley is next. I think that'd be an amazing fight, and I would pick Sean O'Malley to win. I'm on board. I think he'll get it done, and he's only going to improve dramatically from here on out. I don't see someone who's going to be able to deal with that range or those feints or those front kicks. That front kick is a thing of money. I'm so glad I predicted it the way I did, because I said he would go to the body first, hurt Wineland to the body, and then get the KO finish. I like it. I'm very happy about this prediction. I'm very happy about the fight. At least that happened. There were a lot of things that happened tonight that weren't according to plan, but O'Malley won. So we're safe, and the bantamweight division has the prospect that it needs. Rob Font versus Sean O'Malley next. And for Marlon Vera, you're going to have to take a slide out the rankings for now. You are technically coming off a loss, even though I thought he beat Song Yadong. He's technically coming off a loss. You're going to have to slide out them rankings. Sean O'Malley's about to go viral. In fact, I opened up Sean O'Malley's Instagram. He had 818k followers. Let me see how many he gained. He went from 818. It's been an hour since it's been like half an hour since the card was over. He went from 818 to 846. He's dramatically increasing his following numbers so much. I don't know. I think this could be the next Conor McGregor. And that's not something I throw around lightly. But even McGregor didn't have this many followers at this point in his career. Before he was ranked, he had that many followers. Are you kidding me? O'Malley's a different level. Sean O'Malley, the Sugar Show is back. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. Goodbye.